Item on the agenda that needs to be added, it's a certificate of recognition, so we'll add that to the agenda and amend the agenda. Everyone okay with that? Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So we will start off with a certificate of recognition. Dr. Nye?
Josh, are you here? Come on, stand up, Josh, come forward. Josh, we don't want to embarrass you, but we want to recognize you for some great heroic work you did in the library by helping save the lives of one of our library attendees. And what you did in your quick actions made a huge difference and helped save a life. And it was so impressive. Our director of our library said you needed to be recognized along with your peer. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees and myself, college president, we wanted to thank you and give you a certificate of appreciation for that wonderful work you did to save your life and being such a wonderful student here at FLCC. If he wants to come, we can do some other thing for him. All right, I can. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you, Santa.
Yes, you're welcome. All right, next is the review of the April 3rd minutes. Any questions, comments, concerns regarding the minutes? All right, next we have an enrollment report update from Dr. Urbatus.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
So in your packet is the April 19th final spring report. And I am going to provide an update, verbal update in regard to our summer and fall enrollment as of this past Friday. So summer, as of this past Friday, overall headcount enrollment is up 1.3% and FTE is up 0.9%. Fall enrollment, and this is headcount, is up 1.5%, and that excludes Gemini and non-credit state aidable. So obviously, we haven't begun Gemini registrations for fall yet. Not yet. And FTE is up 0.2%. Any questions? We are beginning the process for fall enrollment, and summer enrollment will pick up as well.
Any questions for Dr. Urbatus? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next, we have the 2024-2025 FAFSA update. Jadelle Berner, thanks.
Hello, everyone. I don't have our slides up here. I'm wearing my keys. I'm very fashionable. Just waiting for those slides. Perfect. Thank you. Dr. Nye asked me at Accepted Student Day if I would come and give a quick update on the status of the FAFSA, given everything that has been going on. As you are aware, and if you'll just scroll down here. The FAFSA has undergone a complete overhaul by the Department of Education. Bear with this just a second. Thank you. The part of the Future Act and the FAFSA Simplification Act completely overhauled both the back-end processing of the FAFSA and the student experience. So part of the goal of simplifying the FAFSA was to make the process easier for students and to get them into a higher education pathway much more quickly where they could receive their financial aid awards from school.
Sure, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Now, part of the FAFSA simplification removed 46 questions from the application. It created a direct integration with the IRS. So students and their families are no longer expected to be tax experts and read through their IRS tax forms. But more importantly, the changes on the back end of the application increased eligibility for federal Pell Grant funding to 610,000 new students within the United States and some 60-odd thousand students in New York State. So this is a not only a complete overhaul of the student experience, but also the back-end calculations and formulas that go into determining Pell Grant eligibility. Now, with this FAFSA implementation, there have been a number of delays. This has been widely publicized in the news media. Unfortunately, the Department of Ed has really failed our students and colleges alike in the implementation of this FAFSA. The FAFSA typically opens October 1 for students to complete. This year it was delayed until the end of the year because the application was not ready for students to complete. It rolled out on December 31st because it was required to be live by law by the first of the year. With that being said, I think, you may have heard there was a very long period of time where the FAFSA application online was incredibly unreliable. It would go down, it would come back up again. And so these user interface issues not only impacted our students, but they also have a trickle-down effect. Many of the back-end systems had not been developed when the FAFSA went live. So while students were able to do their FAFSA on January 1st, the back-end systems that were required to send those applications to the school weren't available until mid-March. And even then, those hadn't been fully tested when they were made live to schools. So right now, we are receiving FAFSA data. But the FAFSA data that we are receiving is mired with technical issues. Unfortunately, the Department of Education has not seemed to have done their due diligence in testing their code before they made the applications live to the schools. And the schools instead are debugging applications in production as we're getting them and then having to go back to the Department of Education and notify them of issues that we are having with the FAFSA. What we are finding is unreliable and conflicting information on the FAFSA applications. So for example, we received a FAFSA here at FLCC that has a flag that says the student is eligible for Pell Grant, but then another flag that says they're not eligible for Pell Grant. And so we don't know how to award the students and then have to go back to the department and ask for clarification. More importantly, the technical documentation that our software developers need in order to code our system, our colleague system, so that we can appropriately award students was delayed and then is incomplete. Even to this day, the comment code guide, so a FAFSA has a number of comment codes that are applied to it. The comment code guide that we have as a reference on how to process and award financial aid is still missing information. There are still places in that guide where it says to be determined, yet schools are expected to be awarding students. And I think the most troubling is that the Department of Ed at this point is very slow to acknowledge issues. Schools had been alerting the Department of Ed to a bug in relation to the data that was coming across from the IRS for weeks before the Department of Ed even acknowledged that they believed it was an issue. And they are just now beginning to address those issues. So from a 30,000, really?
Hey.
It worked out. No, it won't advance. There we go. Perfect. From a 30,000-foot view, what this means is that anywhere from 30 to 50% of the FAFSAs that we are receiving right now at institutions across the country are rejected. And that means that we are unable to award them financial aid because they don't have the necessary data on them in order for the students to be able to receive their awards. 97% of community colleges, our National Association of Financial Aid Administrators, is doing weekly surveys. And as of the most recent survey, 97% of community colleges have not been able to award their students financial aid yet because we don't have the data that we need. Now, schools with large endowments or a high tolerance for risk are beginning to provide students with financial aid awards. However, their fallback is that they have large endowments. So if they make mistakes in awarding students aid, they just pick up the difference with their institutional funds. As a community college and a public institution, we don't have that same type of leeway. So private institutions are really relying on their institutional funds to be able to supplement any issues that are created or any errors that a financial aid package may have as a result of the FAFSA issues. More importantly, in a traditional award cycle, we are getting the technical specs and the information that we need to begin setup for an upcoming award year months in advance. Generally, those technical specs start to come out in March or April of a year, so about this time of year, maybe a little bit earlier, and the FAFSA wouldn't open until October 1. So we generally have about 6 months to get all of our ducks in a row so that when the FAFSA begins to come in, we can award our students. We have been given 6 weeks of leeway with the information from the department in order to implement everything we need to as institutions to get students packaged. And the information that we're getting from the department, again, is inconsistent and inaccurate. So across the nation, this is having a significant impact for our students. According to the most recent Department of Education data, FAFSA submissions are down 15%, and that is huge. More importantly, I just saw a figure this morning that said among high school seniors, only 30% of them have completed the FAFSA in comparison to the data that we were looking at last year. The Department of Ed and the state, the Governor Hochul have mounted these massive campaigns to try and increase FAFSA completion. So they had a national FAFSA week of action. SUNY has been going through having all sorts of different activities. But what that does is essentially, puts the burden back on the financial aid offices, because while the Department of Education says that they're doing everything that they can to increase FAFSA completion, the people who are truly helping the students complete the FAFSA are institutions and the financial aid staff at those institutions. Looking at our data, last week when I put together these slides, we were right on trend with the national average. We were about 15% behind on FAFSA completion. I'm happy to report that at least as of today, that number has dropped to about 10%. So we're only 10% behind where we were last year. But approximately 50% of the FAFSAs that we have received here at FLCC need to be reprocessed by the Department of Education because of technical issues. The department did begin reprocessing those FAFSAs last week, so we are starting to see some of them come through. Unfortunately, some of the reprocessed FAFSAs continue to have other bugs now, which we're identifying back to the department, and they will begin to reprocess the tax issues that are coming through on some of those FAFSAs. Well, they said today, but I haven't seen the announcement that it actually started yet. So we're hoping within the coming days. What that means from a financial aid standpoint is that we have not been able to send financial aid award letters out to any of our students yet. That, of course, has an impact for the fall and, more importantly, an impact for the summer, because our summer financial aid comes from this 24-25 FAFSA. Oops, there we go. So what we are doing, we are attempting to be exceptionally proactive in communicating to our students that while we have issues, it's really important that they do the FAFSA. We have engaged a Lucian to help us in the setup. So I'm active twice a week. I meet with a consultant to go through and help build out a Lucian, which has been a tremendous help in making sure that we are really at the forefront of addressing any type of technical issues. And there are a number of them. So our rules and our code within our own colleague system have changed week after week as this situation evolves. But we have been communicating with our students regularly, letting them know through email campaigns, through our website, what the status of the FAFSA is. Our messaging out to our school partners, out to our students, is that they need to do the FAFSA. As soon as we are ready to hit the ground running, we are going to go fast and furious and get those financial aid award letters out to students, which means that they need to still be doing that application. So once we're ready and once we're confident that the data we're getting from the Department of Ed is accurate, that we can get their awards out to them. As an institution, we have met with various stakeholders. We've determined that we need some flexibility in our deadlines, especially for the summer term. And so we've made adjustments to our internal deadlines and processes so that students aren't penalized. So our billing deadlines for the summer have been adjusted. We've got processes that we've worked out to make sure that students can still get their books if their financial aid is not in place for the summer. But more importantly, we have enhanced our support services to students. So we've been holding a number of FAFSA events for our students. This includes one-on-one appointments, virtual appointments, evening financial aid hours in our One Stop. We had a FAFSA clinic at Accepted Student Day. We've been up here in the hallways grabbing students as they're coming through, trying to help our returning students do the FAFSA as well. So any way that we can think of that we can reach out to students and help them get their FAFSA completed, we are actively pursuing those avenues. And that includes being available to our students on evenings and weekends. And then more importantly, we want to make sure that our students don't have any negative impact from this. So we are working with our partners here on campus to make sure that our students aren't harmed by any of the trickle-down effect from these FAFSA issues. So we're working closely with our association to make sure that any students who need summer housing aren't impacted and that they have an avenue to secure their housing, even if their financial aid is not in place. We're working with our foundation to see if there's anything that they can do to help support our students that might be impacted by these FAFSA issues. And then we've been collaborating with finance to adjust deadlines, to come up with avenues where students can secure books if they don't have financial aid funding, as I mentioned. And so really we are trying to make sure that our students are not harmed by what they're calling the FAFSA fiasco, colloquially. Unfortunately, you know, this has been a less than ideal year. I worked in financial aid for 19 years, and this is the most challenging implementation that we've had in my tenure. And it is, you know, an unmitigated disaster, I think, is what one of our senators said recently in a Senate Appropriations Committee hearing. But everyone is doing their best to make sure that FLCC doing what we need to do to move our students through the process, despite the challenges that we're facing, and provide the best service that we can to our students. Any questions?
Any questions? I have a couple. Anyone? Okay. So please remind me, does this application need to be submitted every year?
It does, yes. The FAFSA is submitted every year by students in order to receive their federal student aid.
Yep. And do you see that students aren't enrolling because of this fiasco?
So far, not yet. Our enrollment numbers are up, which is promising. I think, you know, you have to remember, this is not just impacting us, it's impacting colleges around the country. And so I think that is making a community college education that much more advantageous for students, especially when they don't know what the sticker price of these more expensive institution is going to be. They might know what some of their financial aid looks like at these more expensive colleges, but ultimately they know that no matter what, if they come to FLCC, their financial aid will cover their tuition and fees. Whereas at a four-year private, there is a very substantial gap that their federal financial aid would not cover. And so I think there's a lot of consumers out there right now and prospective students that are aware and much more savvy than maybe in previous years that are seeing this as a much more affordable alternative.
Thank you so much for being proactive and staying ahead of it.
We are
We
trying.
appreciate it, and all the students appreciate it too. So kudos to you and your team for.
Thank you. My
staying on
staff
top of
have been absolutely fantastic. So they get the credit. I do all the work behind the scenes. Thank you. I will pass it along.
Any other question? Yes.
Is the work of revamping all of this at DOE being done by DOE's internal staff, or have they hired outside consultants
They
to
have,
do that?
yeah, they have hired outside consultants, and I believe that they were in this Senate Appropriations Committee hearing. They were actively calling out certain Department of Education officials for their lack of oversight in managing their own contractors. There are no programmers or technical staff at the department specifically that are doing these updates. It's all been outsourced to various companies, and unfortunately, it appears like it was poorly managed.
Any other questions? Yes.
Your proactive approach, and I appreciate that, is obviously going to take some extra resources to accomplish that. You keeping track of all of that, so at some point we can.
We
assess
are,
what the
yes,
damage
Dr.
was?
Urbanis has been very, very supportive in making sure that the financial aid office has what it needs, as has Dr. Nye, making sure that we have the resources to secure the consultants we need to get our systems updated in a timely fashion, providing avenues for our staff to have overtime for these evening and weekend events, because unfortunately, comp time is not always something that we can do during peak season when we need all hands on deck. So the college has been exceptionally supportive to make sure that I have the resources I need for my team so that they can accomplish the work that we need to.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Yes.
So I know you mentioned, helping students get books if they do not receive their FAFSA. Will that also apply to lab kits? 'Cause that's something that we really can't return.
Yes, yeah, anything that they would purchase through the bookstore, we have the ability to offset those charges until their financial aid is in place. So books is probably too limited of a term. It would be books and then any other type of supplies that they would need from our bookstore in order to make sure that they're successful.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next we have the FLCC Bronze Flick Statue. Drew Bateman.
My name is Drew Bateman. I'm the student government president here at FLCC this year, alongside you, Raj, our vice president. So we're excited to share with you guys a project that we've been working on. It developed a couple years back when our student corp 21-22 set aside $125,000 for campus beautification. Some of the projects that have been included so far with that is out in the quad, our chessboard, like our life-size giant chessboard, and just some of the renovations out there. We've also put some money towards contributing the benches outside. We're gonna be redoing those, refining them, and getting something that looks a little better, a little neater. So here we got our presentation. We're gonna go through the first few slides, which are like just little pieces of the project, just showing what the bronze we're looking at is. Okay. This is just a bronze face. We're doing like a cutout, so it's not gonna be the like entire body. It's gonna be a little bit of a snippet, like up on top of a like a base. Let's see if this thing will go. You did point it?
Be pointed towards the big button.
Okay. So we're gonna go over some of the steps in a minute, but again, these are some pictures. So it starts with a clay mold and then gets wrapped in the bronze. And then this is the actual statue here. So we're gonna keep building on it, but there's a big base. It's a few feet tall. That way it's kind of life size. You can get up next to it, take some pictures. And then we have like a slate on it that kind of represents like a water. And then we have the Flick statue, our mascot, that goes in and out and kind of protrudes. We got like spikes on it and just a pretty fierce face, just something cool to have some campus pride and something to kind of connect with and understand student corp and like what we're here doing. So here are just a couple more views of it. The one on the left is an alternative view. We didn't end up going with that one, but it's just another design, just trying to hear out different options and considering what else is out there. But the one on the right is what we're pursuing. So that's a scale of it. Like I said, it's a little over 6 feet tall. So there's a good base. We're gonna have a plaque on it. And then the actual bronze statue is about 2 feet tall and about 3 feet wide. So the bronze, it's not gonna start off green, but the cool thing about the bronze is when it starts off, as it weathers, it's gonna turn into that nice green, which is a representation of our school colors. So it's a cool way as it weathers, it kind of turns into what it's supposed to be. And then to make the spikes kind of shine, we have some sort of material. I forget exactly what it was. We've been partnering with Bear and Nigel in our art department that's kind of put all these projects and designs together. So a bunch of different materials. It's a little bit beyond my realm, but a lot of cool thought and ideas have gone into it. So here's where it go in comparison to the school. So it's right up as you walk in. There's a big intersection with a couple of sidewalks, and go right out in there. There's another life-size comparison to it. So it'd be installed in place of a tree that's currently out there, but we've had some talks with ground facilities, just understanding that's okay. Being able to move around some stuff. We're also gonna get like a light that'll that'll shine light on it at night and all that, so got some really cool ideas with it. So expenses. As I said, we have 125,000 there. It's a little lower with some of the projects like the chess pieces, the chessboard, and the chairs that we've invested in. But after this 29,500 and 33,500, we'd still be left with about $50,000 in that designated line. And part of the resolution that our board a couple years ago put forth did actually include flick art around campus. So it's a project that's been in line for a couple of years, and it's really cool to pursue this and put it into action at this point. So here's an overview of some of the costs. Again, this is something that we worked with Barry and Nigel on. It's going to include materials and labor is what at most 33,500 that we're anticipating for it. So we can read through some of these. Creation of full-scale clay model, 3,500 again, labor and materials. Creation of the plaster molds, 8 to 10 sections of the body with the spikes, the head, the water-like representation. So it includes wax patterns and casting molds is 9,000. The bronze pour, cleaning and prep for welding, 9,500. Welding and fine tuning or repair is 4,200. Final cleaning, installation, surrounding lights and the plaque on it will be an additional 3,500 and contingency of 3,800. The project will take between 8 months and a year to pull through. We were really ambitious at the start of the year and we're hoping to try to have it done by graduation, but we underestimated the scale of this project, but it's still something that we'd like to see carry on. So, meetings held about the project. It's been something we've been working on all year, like I said. We've had lots of meetings with Professor Barry and Nigel, just talking about the realistics of it, the costs, the designs, just working with them, being picky about what we want it to look like. We met with talked with President and I about it, just looking for ideas. And one of the big takeaways was how can we make it last the test of time. We want it to be something that students can connect with that have graduated here, are currently students, and future students. We don't want it to be like a generic just gift from this student corps board. We want people to be able to connect and take pride in it, whether they've graduated or again are coming in the future. We've also talked with Provost Dr. Ortiz, Facilities and Grounds, Kathy Ahern, Student Corps Board of Trustees, Rep. George Cushman, and lots of discussion within our board as well. So we've been trying to get as many details and kind of advice and stuff about how to approach the project. And we just have a few more items to be finalized by the future board. So obviously we have there's quick turnaround here, and both you, Raj, and I will be graduating, and we want to make sure that we connect with the people taking over our roles, kind of the ideas that we put into play, and I want them to continue pursuing those. So the plaque and quote, so like the plaque, like what we're going to put on it, the recognition that we give, how we describe the project. We want to kind of give them some ideas, but we also don't have that in final yet. Exactly who's going to install the project, what company, and just the time frame of that. And then we want to do some sort of ribbon cut or reveal event. So those are just things to put in their minds and let them carry out and hopefully finalize and have it ready next year. So with all that said, we just were wondering if you guys have any questions, suggestions, or concerns with this project. We've been trying to connect with as many people and just hear out different ideas and stuff. So if you guys have anything for us, we'd be happy to either try to answer it or put it forward to people who can answer it for us. Yeah.
I would just like to say, I thought the sketches were great. I think it's a really good project. We've had Flick as the mascot now for quite a while, and it would be really neat to have him or her, I'm not sure what Flick is. Out front. It's a really good idea, gentlemen, very good.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm happy to see this. come about. This is something that we talked about my very first term here. I'm happy to see it in action. I do have a question though. Do you guys have an insurance plan or anything in the works just in case it's to be vandalized or damaged or anything?
Yeah, so I can't say we have an actual insurance policy, but part of the discussion has been, and we were pretty picky with it as it was coming along, was we did worry that, yeah, students might jump up and hang on it. Ideally, we want people taking pictures with it, maybe giving it like a tap for good luck before an exam or finals or something. But yeah, we tried to like make sure that we have the right reinforcements. We've asked if there's stuff underneath so that if somebody did try to pull on it or was a little aggressive, that it would withstand that. So we haven't taken the right steps and stuff, but that is something we could definitely look into, just actually making sure it's insured. But it also is a project that we are carrying out here. Like I said, we are partnering with Darren Nigel in the art department, so it is something they'll be working on, but for like the actual, like brick installation or whatever material goes through with that, but yeah, we have protection on it, so,
Thank you.
yeah.
Trustee Russell?
I hope you're coming back for the dedication and review.
Absolutely. I want to follow through with it and make sure that it's all happening, so. We'll see if you're brought back from New York City, but,
Don't stray too far. just in
yeah,
case.
yeah, so.
Yes, Trustee Martin?
So is it Professor Nigel is the individual who will ultimately create and craft the,
Yeah,
okay.
so the bronze piece in specific, so we'd have somebody external that actually does the base of it. But it's gonna be a project that can let students get somewhat hands-on. It's gonna be more designing and some of the refinement via our professor who's professional in bronze art and teaching the course in regards to it is gonna be doing the project, so,
Thanks.
yeah.
Donna had a question online.
Go ahead, Donna.
Thank you. Drew, excellent project, excellent report. You've thought about a lot of aspects, and one of the issues I was wondering, have you considered when someone is taking a picture with Flick, is there any FLCC signage behind it at any point? Like, is there have you thought about the perspective?
Are you talking about like the plaque? Like something
No.
like,
No, I was talking about whether, I don't even recall at this point, I should know that, but is there signage out in front of the college, like the college's sign on the building?
That was shown in the background.
So
Not with the
So Jana, what you're saying is, so when they take the picture, FLCC is in the picture.
If you wanted it to be, right?
yeah, I don't think it is directly at this moment, but I think that'd be cool, a little touch to it.
That can be done because it's all about the alignment and the direction that Flick would be facing in, that's the direction we would encourage people to stand and then take the picture. We do have the old building in view, the new building, not so much. If we can, to the new building, but it doesn't have signage, so it would be best to like re-angle it so that we can have signage in the back of the old building.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
No. Can I just add one
Yes,
thing?
yes.
I know the approach you were introduced a little bit, but the gentleman standing behind Drew, our student corporation vice president, has been an online student from India, taking all his things there and going to Columbia University, starting this fall. Yeah.
Wonderful. Any other?
Saddens me to be leaving. I didn't want to leave FLCC at all.
They've been here for about a week, so.
Nice. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
All right, the next is student success through early college. Fred Fink.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fred Fink. I'm the Director of Concurrent Enrollment here at FLCC. And it's my pleasure to manage FLCC's early college programs here and provide an array of options for FLCC students, or high school students in our region to connect with FLCC. I'm here tonight to highlight some of those programs and pieces here. I hope you've had a chance to read through the presentation in the board packet. I'm going to highlight some things as we go through and kind of, delve in a little bit. So this first graphic comes from our fall enrollment report, and you can see how students are categorized here at the college. And tonight we're going to focus on that segment there, the duly enrolled students and who those students are. So duly enrolled students generally fall into these overlapping categories of Gemini, early college scholars, and P-TECH. And so regardless of the program that students are in, the one thing they have in common is they're all students getting a head start on their college career through FLCC in a very meaningful way. The Gemini program, probably everyone is aware of. It is our largest and most well-known program. It's comprised of about 260 Gemini instructors who are high school teachers approved to deliver FLCC courses in their high schools during their regular school day. Gemini exists in all of the schools in our service area, so no school is left without this opportunity. There are about 50 courses that schools can choose from, and each year about 3,000 students participate in this program, earning nearly 26,000 credits. One of the great things about it is it's extremely affordable, and students can participate in this program at a cost of $5 per credit hour fee. It's an incredible opportunity for students. Early college scholars, on the other hand, is conversely, those are high school and homeschool students who are taking classes right here with us on our campus, online, at our campus centers, with our native students. The vast majority of them are juniors and seniors, fewer younger folks. About 60% are homeschooled. I've seen that mix move around a little bit, 50-50. The homeschool crowd is usually a little bit there. And the vast majority come within our extended service area, which would include Monroe County. I've had students all over New York State, Long Island, and as far south as Washington, D.C., who found us through Zoom. So it's been pretty good. And early college scholar students, they pay a 1/3 tuition plus all applicable course fees to participate in that program.
Just a quick question on
Yeah.
roughly how many numbers in that early college?
You'll see that coming right up. So our P-TECH program is it's kind of like a combination of those. And so the P-TECH program is a grant program where FLCC is a partner with Wayne Finger Lakes BOCES. And students in high school are on a pathway to complete an FLCC degree. And you can see the 3 degree programs here that currently exist in our P-TECH program. And these students in high school are taking classes aligned to high school graduation, Gemini classes, and on-campus classes, again, seeking to meet the degree requirements for those 3 programs. And P-TECH, it should be noted, is located adjacent to our Wayne County Campus Center up in Newark. Here's what you were looking for in terms of a head count to kind of give you an idea. So this table is made up of our enrollment reports from both the fall and the spring. And you can see here the head counts of students who participate in classes from our main campus, Geneva, Newark, and what have you, as well as online and Gemini. And for the first time ever, Gemini is now the single largest modality of instruction at FLCC for both the fall and spring terms. That's never happened before. And so what you can see is the face-to-face students who are participating on our campus probably add up there to about 1,800, 1,900 students, with online students being about 2,100 and Gemini about 2,200. So it's really quite remarkable. When I first noticed that this year, I was so surprised because having been involved in our high school programs for over 20 years, I remember when Gemini was actually a small part of the overall academic portfolio of student participation in courses. And so to see that size now is just really amazing. early college scholars, you can see them broken out there by term. And those are students who are here taking classes with us who are high school or homeschool students, as well as P-TECH students. And you can see some remarkable growth in there during this current academic year. And one of the best things about this that I really love is that these students in those green bands are actually supporting all of those other categories above it. They are taking classes at our campus centers. They're taking classes online. And I specifically looked before coming here. I know I have an early college scholar student in the main campus, Geneva, Newark, Victor, and online. So I have at least one student in every one of those categories. So it's great to see this opportunity for students benefit all of our other campus locations. So some things that you're going to hear going forward, we're working with an early college high school grant. So 2 schools in our region, Geneva and Waterloo, are tentatively approved for grants starting this coming fall. And those grants allow those schools to identify a cohort of students, typically targeted at first generation and underrepresented groups. And it gives them an opportunity to engage with the college, both on campus and through activities, as well as Gemini, and to really encourage that college-going culture and get them actually on our campus. And so this coming fall, these schools will be recruiting students into those cohorts. And that now, we won't see them for a little while because they'll actually be recruiting 9th grade students into those cohorts. So they'll start as 9th grade students. And what they'll do is they'll actually get the idea of being a college student and getting some of those supports and see how their high school studies will align to their subsequent, degree completion here. The Distance Learning Partnership, you guys are probably aware of this. You may have heard it through the Distance Learning Telemedicine Grant, as well as a DLT grant. But really what that amounts to is a $1 million grant that the college received from the United States Department of Agriculture. And it's going to equip 10 school districts in our region with video conferencing equipment such that schools will be able to share their Gemini courses from one school to another. So if one school has one course, another one doesn't, students will be able to participate in real time through that video conferencing equipment, as well as have some FLCC courses delivered directly from our faculty here, right into the high school, to these high school audiences. Oswego BOCES is serving as our consultant. They got one of the earlier rounds of this project a few years ago, and they have this kind of set up with Onondaga Community College, as well as Cayuga Community College. Our Wayne County Community Schools, you may not be familiar with this. A number of high schools across Wayne County operated as a consortium, if you will, and applied for a very large grant. And they received millions of dollars to work in the areas of mental health, youth, after-school programs, family nutrition, and it's really to serve the rural students of Wayne County. And FLCC has a position that's funded by that grant, and the purpose of that position is really to maximize the availability of FLCC to the entire Wayne County population. They can work to grow our Gemini enrollment, participate in early college. It can be non-credit as well, workforce, career readiness. So really that person really gets to focus their attention on making opportunities available for Wayne County. In summary, the students of this region should be thrilled at the wide array of early college opportunities provided by FLCC, both Gemini here on campus, other kinds of partnership arrangements. Gemini program saves families millions of dollars every year on future higher ed costs. And really these programs provide students with an authentic on-campus experience and with greater emphasis on equity and access, which is really near and dear to me. I really like how a number of these programs are geared to and designed to let students participate in FLCC coursework and programming at no cost to the student or family while they're still in high school. So that's wonderful to get them connected to us, and they're part of the FLCC community. anyone have any questions for me?
Any questions? Yep.
I do. I'm curious as to how you recruit or communicate to get the students ultimately to take advantage of any one of the programs.
We have a great working relationship with all of our area high schools and school counselors. We have someone identified at each school, and we communicate with them regularly about all of the course offerings that we have. And really, they're really great at helping us identify the students so that no one falls through the cracks. Our entire enrollment and registration period is really focused on making sure no one misses out on this opportunity, both a set of eyes at the school as well as here. And now going forward, we even have someone specifically looking in Wayne County that can actually go and be at each school to make sure, because that's the end goal, right? To make sure no one misses out on this opportunity.
Whose responsibility, or maybe it's more than one, takes that communication and maybe extends it into whatever home setting that student might have?
Again, that is also something that I'm already seeing some of these. So I have a middle school student, and I'm starting to see these kinds of conversations, and I've already been invited to some of those school meetings where I get to go as a parent, and I get to sit in the audience and hear this for myself.
Okay.
And you can hear the school actually promote this as well. And I never get through one of these without calling out Joan right here. She knows what's coming.
Most teachers that teach Gemini talk to the kids about what the program is like and the fact that they will actually have college credit at the end that they can transfer anywhere within the SUNY system. You know, English 101 will be English 101. It's not transferred as an elective or anything like that. It's an incredible program for kids. And I think over the last few years, you know, Fred has done a very good job in getting that news out to parents, because not only do the kids get the credit, it is so much cheaper than going, you know, here as a freshman or someone else, or transfer somewhere as a sophomore. And many of these kids do have a whole year of credit. Some of them that really work will have 2 years of credit, and they can go somewhere as a junior. That's an incredible thing.
So
Really is.
you made a point. Is it are those credits acknowledged and recognized just within SUNY? Are they
No,
also
all over.
other liberal arts colleges or other colleges?
But as with all transfer credit, we warn everybody
Yep.
that from college to college, a transfer credit may be different. So they may say, you know, I used to always say to the kids when they took psych, if you don't go to a SUNY school and you take AP psych, or not AP, Gemini psych, and you go to a private institution, they may not accept that as psych. They may want you to take all the psych courses with them. However, they usually will count it as an elective. So that's more for the counselors and everybody to work out, but, yeah.
I can say from public to private, Midwest to South, Ohio State takes the credits, and college at Charleston, South Carolina takes the credits based on proud parents' anecdotal.
Surveying students, I've seen over 90% success transferability, public and private across the country.
It seems so affordable. I don't remember the cost on the AP side, but AP, if I recall, was a little bit more expensive. Certainly not.
Yeah, you have to, the AP is tricky, and, Laura and probably Deborah can, give you a little more info. It used to be they would accept a 3, but I think now some places want a 4, correct?
Yeah, and
So
some even.
that's tricky, because a child could take it all semester, not get the 4, and then the credit definitely will not be transferred. And I used to say to the kids, if you're on the fence about this, you can chart your own destiny by taking Gemini, depending upon how much you want to study and get an A, B, or C, or, you know, roll the dice for AP.
Thanks.
I would also like to add that I took Gemini credits, and that is the only reason I came here was when I was rejected from my dream school. I was like, well, I already have credit at FLCC from high school. I might as well come there. And I wish I had taken more classes in high school because it's so cheap. And it was a great experience.
Thank you.
I do have a couple questions.
Sure.
Regarding the money aspect, who collects the money? How does it come back to FLCC?
The $5 per credit hour fee is submitted just with our regular registration materials and processed through the one-stop and student accounts, just like any other amount received.
Oh, okay, so the student will receive a bill, if you will, and then they have to submit that
Yes.
to FLCC directly. So the school isn't like the middleman
Nope,
for
the school-
changing hands of the money.
No, but we are fortunate enough to have some schools will actually pay the $5 per credit hour fee. So I have a number of third-party billers where Mid-Lake School District, I'll give an example there. Mid-Lake School District has decided this is something they want all students doing.
Yeah.
And they don't even want the $5 to be a barrier. And so I bill Mid-Lake School District for all of their Gemini participation as a whole. There's a foundation in Wayne County that supports supports Clyde and SOTUS, and they provide all the costs there for those students as well.
Nice, nice. The P-TECH program, right now you do have 3 programs which are in fields that are very up and coming and employable fields. Do you foresee expanding any of those P-TECH programs
I do.
or adding more?
The legislation was designed specifically around AAS degree programs where there was a demonstrated shortage of employees.
Yep.
And so that's where the vetting of these degree programs came from. So they had to fit a narrow criteria, and there was employers also involved in that grant application, and the employers had to attest to, we need these employees and they're going to be first in line for a job. I do see this as expanding. I believe BOCES has applied for a few more grants, but again, this would ultimately come through the State Education Department if they want to include more.
Okay.
That is up to them. That's not a decision we make here.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Donna.
Oh, Donna, yes.
Thank you. Hi, Fred. Excellent news all the way around. One area of interest I have is you have mentioned that there are opportunities for students on campus. And I was just curious how you manage that. How do these students who are everywhere have opportunities for student engagement?
For course taking, you mean?
No, I suppose they would be extracurriculars.
Yeah, so what we're seeing now is with these grants, they're now like like I mentioned, Geneva and Waterloo just received these grants. And part of these grants, there's funds identified to develop these kinds of engagement opportunities. I think you're talking about the community school or the early college high school grant specifically requires students to come on campus and spend 45 hours on the college campus prior to enrolling in the classes on the college campus. So we'll get them here for a summer opportunity for college knowledge and those kinds of engagement opportunities directly through that grant.
Thank you very much. Yes, and it was triggered by looking at the statement about Clyde Savannah is bringing students to the main campus. And I didn't know if that was for a course or just an event or.
Clyde wants to make some classes available for their students. They're struggling with recruiting faculty at their school. And so this is something they want to do to provide college courses for their students. And they're also lucky enough to have that foundation that would be willing to pay the tuition funds for students to participate here.
Thank you very much.
Just a comment, you had an interesting retrospect there in terms of we're a bit of a solution then for some of the secondary schools in our marketplace in terms of we have a faculty here, we have a curriculum, we have an offering, and we have this partnership, if you will, an extension.
All right, so that's what we're looking to maximize.
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
fascinating. Never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks, Brent. We
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much.
All right, we have a couple of resolutions. The first one is the approved creation of credit for prior learning policy. Dr. Ortiz?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And Fred's presentation provided a perfect segue for this policy that I'm bringing forward to you this evening for your consideration and requesting approval for a new policy on the credit for prior learning. The reason is we had a subgroup of our academic senate review our current prior learning assessment processes. And they have now recommended this new policy, which is also informed by SUNY's newly revised Award of Academic Credit by Evaluation policy, as well as guidance by the American Council on Education. So in consultation with the appropriate bodies here at the college, the Academic Senate unanimously approved this policy for recommendation to the Board of Trustees. Any questions?
Any questions? All right, thank you. Yep. That's good.
Sorry, this is Donna. I couldn't get to my unmute fast enough. I do have two questions for Laura, Dr. Ortiz. Do the students need to be enrolled in other courses at FLCC in order to apply for this credit?
So typically it's when they're transferring in, when they want to enroll. So it's evaluating any learning that they have had prior. So typically, the only reason they would want their prior learning evaluated would be because they are working on enrolling here at the college.
Okay, it's not a business person coming in saying they would like to get college credit for their expertise.
Well, I mean, technically they could if they wanted to. Well, that's an interesting. But it would still probably be in pursuit of some sort of a credential if they wanted to demonstrate their learning. But typically, it would be to earn credit for learning that has transpired. In the case of a business person, for example, for a public speaking course, like maybe if this individual has been involved in Toastmasters and through their business experience, they might choose to go through the process, which is what we're looking at, whether that's a challenge exam or a portfolio or some demonstration of their mastery of the learning outcomes of that course.
Thank you. And my second question was the new policy. Is what I'm looking at in the packet the new policy, or is there a policy that we will be getting to look at?
No, that is the new policy.
This is the new policy. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So will the learning assessment policy be revoked? Because it's changes to the prior learning assessment processes and creation. So is this replacing a policy?
It examined the processes, but not, this is a new policy. So the other, it's not replacing a policy, it was an examination of the existing processes.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next resolution is adjust the Finger Lakes Community College professional service positions roster. Thanks, Kennedy.
So you should have in your packets a position information regarding the digital communication specialist. This would be new to the institution. The position reports to the Director of Public Relations. It's a full-time 12-month position. It was recognized to be in the PA Professional Association Pay Group E, and it would become effective in our next budget year that starts in September. This position was created to support and integrate digital communication across the college. It also serves as liaison in collaboration with the social media action team, as well as working closely with student corporation. I'll take any questions.
Any questions or comments? Adana? All right. All right, thanks. All right, next we have a DEI update, FLCC's progress towards inclusive excellence. Dr. Covington.
Sure. I am. Good afternoon.
Hey.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. Good evening. That's right, Rob. I'm in co-signer. That can't work.
There we go.
They work for Drew.
There we go. So I'm going to answer a variety of questions for you tonight to streamline this process. I'm going to be highlighting the recruitment of underrepresented minority personnel, the enrollment of underrepresented minority students, the retention of underrepresented minority students, weaving DEI into the academic curriculum. What are we doing as a campus community in order to support diversity, equity, and inclusion, and things that we are continuing to do around town-gown relations. So the first thing I want to talk about is our first goal in our DEI plan. Once again, the 6 goals that we had in our original DEI plan was reestablished by governance executives here. And I'm going to be also talking about the establishment of our, I guess I'll call updated FLCC Diversity Council. Thank you, Laura. So the first goal we have on for our DEI plan is increased diversification of FLCC personnel. The next slide that I already provided you is going to let you know the differences or the impact that we have had over the past couple of years. The veterans and disability numbers are going to be percentages of just applications, but race and ethnicity is going to be the numbers of hires. Doing a little bit of a deeper dive, in 2020, we hired 1 person of color, for lack of a better word. 2021, we hired 2. In 2022, we hired 9. And in 2023, we hired 13. So there's definitely an upward trend in regards to recruiting individuals who are coming from diverse backgrounds working here at FLCC. In addition to the numbers, here you're going to see some of the outreach that we're going to be continuing to engage in. I provided human resources with a variety of websites in order to market different positions here at the college. We're going to be engaging in either face-to-face or virtual career fairs, for opportunities here at the college. And we're also continuing to engage in job posting reviews. We have strategic partnerships around diversity recruitment, including the African American Leadership Development Program out of the United Way of Rochester, Latino Leadership Development, Asian Pacific Islander, as well as many more. I graduated from AALDP myself. Other organizations that we're going to be looking to partner with: IBERO, NAACP of Geneva, the Geneva BID, HWS Intercultural Center, the Geneva Campus Center, shout out to Janine Eckenrode, African American Churches, the Urban League of Rochester, Action for a Better Community, working with our Human Resource Office to update and look into our affirmative action report. And we're continuing to have conversations on campus in regards to diversity advocate trainings. And we are reestablishing our ERGs. When it comes to ERGs, for those of you who may not be familiar, an ERG is an employee resource group. It's an opportunity to build a sense of community within the greater community. In the past, pre-COVID, we had 6. Faculty and staff of color, LGBTQ+, individuals living with disabilities, young professionals, veterans, and women. In regards to some of the past events that we have had relevant to these ERGs, one of the great examples that we have is that the Young Professionals ERG brought brought the St. John Fisher EDP program here to talk about that total opportunity for FLCC personnel. Goal number 2 is to increase diversity within our student body. We have a, what would we call him, Carol? A superstar within we have a superstar within our, Office of Admissions, but before I even get to that, I'm very happy to present to you, shout out to Student Life, that under the leadership of, Andrea Brown now, right? Andrea Brown, we are a gold level veteran support designated campus for our campus veterans. And the superstar that I want to highlight in enrollment management is an individual by the name of Nathan. What makes Nathan unique, shout out to Buffalo. Nathan graduated from the academy here in Canandaigua, went to Canisius, but he also did his master's literally in Germany. So he's a huge proponent in regards to not only international recruitment, but diversity recruitment. On the next slide, I'll show you me and Nathan in New York City at the SUNY enrollment fair promoting FLCC. Well, some of the things that I had, here we go. Some of the things that I had in the presentation is just showing you our numbers going up from 422 to 423. In addition to that, even though enrollment is lower in the spring, we did have 36% in regards to those individuals in spring 23 being students of color and 27.8 in regards to 423 being students of color. When it comes to the Latinx or Hispanic community, once again, we have new initiatives making special efforts toward that community. And once again, something that you'll also see in the slide deck is the numbers that we have relevant to his efforts, or not just his, but enrollment efforts around Hispanic enrollment. I went with him to New York City, specifically. In New York City, they have a SUNY fair, and I would say 95% of the individuals who are attending the SUNY fair, specifically in New York City, are students of color, right? I'm always flattered to go. Originally, I wasn't, but I had a conversation with Rob, and now I am. He gave me the catalyst. What's the catalyst? So I go with Nathan, and we actually had a good time. So that's us there in New York City. For the record, though I am there supporting the initiative, Nathan can definitely sell Finger Lakes Community College. And he does a great job at that. So once again, I want to give him a huge shout out. Retention of our underrepresented minority students. What you will see is that once again, we have our numbers here relevant to our percentages, and then we have our numbers here represented from 4 to 4 retention. That's overall in regards to our students of color versus our white students. Once again, FLCC identifies, as you know, as a predominantly white institution. But we also have the breakdown for you here when it comes to our students of color. I'm very happy to share with you that also when it comes to our individuals living with disabilities, we're retaining them at about 69%. But there's really a slide that I want to get to. When it comes to 421 to 422, as you'll see in the slide deck, we bumped up when it comes to 422 to 423. When it comes to first time in college students after 1 year. So we went from 25 relevant to our SUNY peers to 16. So once again, continuing to retain our students of color. There's really something that I want to show you. So very quickly, when it comes to our students who are living with a disability over the last 5 years, once again, we're above average. First generation, we're above average. Gender, we're above average. Pell, we're above average. But this is what I really want to point out when it comes to students of color. As you see here, I'll just point it out. As you see in the top box, when we're looking at 46, 43, 44, and 47, what I would call the changes in the retention rate for students of color versus our white students is going to be less dramatic. One of the reasons that I personally feel that that's less dramatic is because, especially during COVID, we're having more students retained because our students of color are not exposed to microaggressions that they're experiencing on campus. Am I making sense? So by default of them being online students, they're in their homes, they're in their neighborhoods. But the pro of that is that we're retaining them at a higher rate. Regardless of that, we still want to continue to close the gap that we see in between retaining our students of color and our predominantly white students and our white students. Once again, when it comes to age, we are above average over the last 5 years. And the breakdown here is also giving you information that's showing you above average. It's important for me to note that when you see the numbers that are below the line, so this is going to be your number of students, that's going to be a percentage. But when you see things that are below the line, make sure that you're paying attention to the low number of students because it's not really big enough of an intent to have a major impact. Goal number 3 is incorporating DEI into the academic curriculum. As many of you are fully aware, SUNY had a new initiative that pretty much mandated us when it comes to DEI SJ. In regards to inclusive teaching, we identify that as creating an inclusive classroom environment as well as incorporating diverse perspectives into the academic curriculum. I'm very happy to let you know over this last year, 48 faculty and adjunct faculty have been trained in regards to DEI, SJ, adding that to the academic curriculum. And these are the courses that have passed through the FLCC process. In addition to our FLCC full-time and adjunct here, also as shout out to Fred, we just talked about our other students who are working in the high schools. These are our full-time faculty and staff who are on campus. And you'll also see our Gemini faculty and staff who also have been trained in this area.
So quick question, what does the SJ stand for?
Social justice.
Thank you.
In regards to goals 4 and 5, goal 4 is DEI professional development. Goal 5 is around town-gown relations. We're continuing to have conversations on campus around a variety of things when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. One of the things that I'm very happy to share is that typically if I do any type of program, we open it up to the campus community. So it's not just limited to students. So in these programs, we have students, faculty, staff, cabinet members, et cetera. Programs that we put on during the past year, implicit bias, microaggression. We've had some great conversations. As you know, a hot button issue right now in this country is the Israel-Palestine conflict. I'm very happy to let you know that we did have some successful events here at FLCC. Safe zone training, LGBTQ+ inclusivity, and we've also had some training for some campus stakeholders around restorative justice. I won't go through all of this, but in your slide deck, you will see all of the things that we're also doing at the suites at Laker Landing, continuing to have partnerships with them, doing training of RAs, and also going over them as requested for different programs. Shout out to student life. Different things that we're continuing to do in student life. We have a variety of diversity-based student organizations, including PRISM, the LGBTQ+ organization, Alana, African American, Latino, Asian, Native American, the SBO. Extended orientation is typically for individuals who are coming from diverse backgrounds, giving them mentors to help with their transition to the institution. Chanel is in the last box with the green jacket. She actually organized, she contacted me because I serve on city council. She wanted to do something in the community, and at Art Space 36, she organized a march for queer and trans youth autonomy. They had a salsa and fiesta and National Coming Out Day celebration. So some great things also coming out of the Office of Student Life. Goal number 6, very quick, is just town-gown relations. I'm continuing to work with individuals in this community and further out, doing some stuff for the Watkins Glen Chamber of Commerce, the Lyons School District, continuing our partnership with Geneva 2020. Shout out to Janine Eckenrode. The gentleman here is the VP for DEI down at Hobart. With my role as the Dean of Student Athlete Development, also having conversations with individuals in the community around what we're doing as an institution when it comes to athletics. So all the Rochester City School District working with their student athlete leaders, and I also had the opportunity to have a conversation or do a presentation for all of the athletic directors in Chapter 5 right here in Canandaigua, New York. I am in my 3rd year on city council, so at the end of this year, I have to let the Democratic Committee know in Canandaigua whether or not I would like to run again. I don't know yet, we'll figure that out. Not too many people looking at me at the polar bear plunge, but I went to the polar bear plunge. Like that, right? And then we got me doing some stuff. So one of the things that I'm very happy to share about this is that I continue to do all implicit bias training for every law enforcement agency in Ontario County. So I think that's a huge thing for the college. Very happy to share with you that in the past, when we did our first DEI campus climate survey, we had something called the Presidential Diversity Council. As this is now being revamped, we changed the name to the FLCC Diversity Council. We're having some great conversations, and I'm going to College Council later on this month. Very quickly for some updates that have happened thus far with this council is that we've updated the term gender to gender and gender identity. We updated recruitment goals to include gender and gender identity. Support Gemini and direct up concurrent enrollment efforts around recruiting diverse high school students. Fred already mentioned that. Added professional development on gender and gender identity. So for a lot of people who are part of the FLCC Diversity Council, these things are very important to them. We had some really impactful conversation. Hosting community building circles for the campus community on various DEI topics, thus the importance of restorative justice training. Potentially doing a town hall for diverse faculty and staff experiences here at FLCC and building partnerships with regional LGBTQ+, et cetera, organizations. I want to give a huge shout out to the men's volleyball team for winning the national championship for the second year in a row. So once again, a great accomplishment here at the college. And I also want to give a huge shout out to the women's locking sports team for winning the Northeast Women's Division title this past weekend at Paul Smith College. So all positives going on here at the college when it comes to DEI. I would definitely say that we continue to have work to do, but we have some smart people here who are helping me move the dial forward. I want to open up the floor for any questions, comments, or concerns.
Anything for Sun?
I just have to comment. I love how you were very informative in your slide and you seem like a very busy person, but
Super busy,
yeah,
crazy.
but I appreciate everything you do, Sim.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Anything else?
Donna? Yes, Donna.
Tim, as you were talking, I was just curious, when you do your outreach for recruiting students, job fairs, et cetera, what types of questions do you usually get? Are they the same as other, just regular enrollment strategy outreach questions you would get? Or do they skew towards something different?
Nope. So typically, if I go to any recruiting activity, the main recruiting activity when I go to for students is going to be in New York City. And most of the time, they're asking about the following questions. One, they're asking about where's Canandaigua, especially coming from
Okay.
right? So not say we're in between Syracuse and Rochester, right? And mind you, though I laugh with you now, don't forget I'm from Brooklyn, so yeah, I didn't even know where Suffern, New York was at, but now I'm upstate now. All right. So where's Canandaigua? That's one of the questions that comes up. Then a lot of times, believe it or not, I think a huge selling point that isn't really understood in higher education, but a huge selling point for us here, believe it or not, in addition to the academic experience, is housing. The fact that we can promote that all of our students get their own room coming from New York City, that's a very big deal. In addition to that, we talk about my words, not necessarily college words, some of our flagship programs, things that we have that are unique here, music recording. I mean, the fact that I can say that we have a professional student, the fact that we can do professional studio, the fact that I can say that CMAC right on campus, culinary. So our high functioning programs, for lack of a better word, I promote that, and the students tend to bite the bait. We also do, with Matt Stever, the Office of Admissions, we also do what's called a New York City bus trip. So we actually bus students up here. We partner with other colleges. We bring students up here for a couple of, how many nights? One night? For one night, let them experience the FLCC experience and then send them back down. But that tends to produce some enrollment as well, Donna.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? You're welcome, you're very welcome. Any other questions?
Any other questions
at this time? For transparency, I gotta finish it, but typically, every year I do what's called a DEI report. So if you go to the FLCC DEI webpage, in addition to our initial DEI plan, we have DEI report for our last 2 years, and I'm still working on the one for 2023, but it's coming. I just want to put that on. Okay? Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. All right. I'd like to adjourn this meeting at 5:48. And turn it over to finance.
Okay, the motion, trustee Mark?
Oh, can I have a motion? I'm sorry. Okay, and second, thank you. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. All right. Opposed? I doubt it.
Now trustee Mark,
Hi
take
there.
it away.
Apologies for interrupting. I just would like to know, we have some alumni here and we have a few concerns. If we could take about 20 minutes of your time right now or at a later point in this meeting to go over them.
Yes, that's, and the open meeting session. So we have, we have the finance and facilities meeting, and we have our open meetings afterwards, and the floor will be open up for your concerns.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, 5:49 PM, we'll call to order the Finance and Facilities Committee of Pink Place Community College Board of Trustees. We have the review of the April 3rd, 2024 committee minutes. First, a motion. Actually, we'll save that motion moment. We'll save it for the full meeting. Questions or comments with regard to the minutes? Thank you once again, Penny, for putting those together and sharing them with us. Jason's already at the podium, ready to talk to us about finance as well as the budget update.
Yeah,
Welcome.
so. I can talk about it and then we can show it on the screen. So, for the results as of March 31st, not much change since February. The summer billing happens in April, so, not much movement in what was collected. I think some of the sponsor aid came in. So revenues are on track, for what we had projected. Will be a little bit higher, just because of our increase in enrollment that we saw this fiscal year. So, that's really from a revenue perspective, and then from expenses, on target for expenses, we're in line with percent of budget year completed to what has been spent. We'll see some pickup in our equipment lines with IT equipment that gets purchased during the summer months to be able to refresh for the new academic year coming up. So I would expect some increase in that line. But other than that, you know, as you look at prior year, expenses, supply and expenses, again, it's the way we recognize the Gemini fees.
Yeah.
It's a timing.
It's a timing thing. And it looks like that actually will pick up probably not until the May, report, so.
Questions on the revenue and or expense side, since you did touch upon both. Accounts receivable?
Accounts receivable, you know, we're trending, you know, accounts receivable is up. So we're working on collections of outstanding student balances. There is an allowance budget in that 11.2 million, or write-off budget. So that won't be recognized until we kind of get through the spring semester, and then we can do a look back. But that will be brought to the board for approval, write-off of any AR balance.
Questions about this update? Donna, any questions of you?
The only other thing before we get to resolutions I wanted to address was the single audit report. So I know in the last meeting, Bonadio did present the financial statements without the single audit report, which is our federal audit or audit of our federal boards that we received. They're looking at finalizing that report this week. I'm happy to announce that there are no current findings to be reported this year. So our Title IV refunds were fixed. Our calculations related to that. And then the other finding that we had last year was around our PERF reporting, which was the COVID funds that came from the federal government. So that has been fixed. The one finding that does come through, but it's not related to our federal awards, is our significant deficiency that was recorded on our financial statements. So that was around our internal controls, reconciliations and time. But as Randy spoke to you, you know, that is being fixed and we are working on that. But that does just need to go into that single audit report, and we'll have a response to that, so.
We'll receive that, single audit in our June packet or maybe prior.
Hoping to get that in our, June packet. There may be board approval before that to have that issued, because the deadline to have that issued is May 31st.
I'd like to work with our chair in terms of timing and so forth and pending. Great.
Yes.
Questions on the single audit? Thanks for that follow-up. Since you're there are two resolutions that have your name by them. Maybe you could take us through those two, please.
Yeah, the first one, you know, Fred shared with us our Gemini numbers. And what this will really help us do is register those Gemini students, the software with Canusia. We received quotes from other companies. Fred has done a lot of due diligence in determining, you know, is this the right software for us? Based on his discussions with other community colleges in the area that use this, very positive responses with this. It will integrate with our colleague system.
This will help to register students versus a paper process right now. That's done and then sent to our one stop to put into Kali. So create some time savings for that. Fees will also be paid. There's syllabus will be able to be developed and produced. So really important software to ensure that our Gemini program continues to be successful and to ensure the registrations are done in a timely manner. The cost of this is $35,000 per year. In order to pay for this, we are looking to increase that Gemini fee by $2 per credit hour. So it'll be $7 per credit hour going forward. $5 has been part of since I think we started the program. So we are looking to increase that to assist in paying for the software.
Questions with regard to the software surrounding Gemini? Got it? Okay. Next one, facility master's plan.
The master plan, this is to approve and adopt the Finger Lakes Community College Facilities Master Plan prepared by Lobella. This is the plan that was presented to the board last board meeting. The master plan outlines long-term maintenance needs, facility remodeling, and facility changes recommended to align with our needs of the community and to described in the college mission statement and strategic plan. The plan is a plan. It's nothing that's set in stone. It can change and be modified. But what this does, it allows us to be able to present to SUNY a plan of how we want to address our facility needs and concerns in order to ensure that we continue to get funding with our CIP and SUNY match dollars that are from that. So it is kind of a plan that can change. So, but this resolution is to adopt and approve that master plan that was presented in the last meeting.
Okay. I'd like to give our chair, Geis, and trustee Astos an opportunity because you represented these trustees on that committee. Maybe you have some comments, either one of you?
I'd like to thank Jason, Deborah, everybody on the 2+2 committee, faculty and staff, students. Oh, Deborah, you're gonna do that next? So I should really hold my comments until then? Okay. Oh, this is Mr. Facility.
The master facility committee that you and Jeff served on. Trustee Astos.
Just one comment, and that was, as many of you know, I was involved in a number of these when I was sitting on the county side of the equation.
A few.
Yeah, and in this process was by far the best that I had experienced in terms of the integration between the college and the county in developing the plan. And certainly the level of detail in this plan far exceeds the previous plans. So it was a good experience and it's well done.
Dr. Nye, you might have a closing thought on that.
No, I think it's been all been said.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
Okay, you want to skip over Deborah real quick and then hit the informational items?
Is Dr. Orloff okay with that? I'll defer first.
I'm fine, thank
Okay.
Yeah, let me stop musical chairs, but.
Okay, informational items.
The informational items, just a bid renewal. We went out for bid for printing of letterhead and envelopes. Really, we utilize the company for mostly our envelope processing because we don't have the capabilities here, so.
Questions on the informational items? All set. Thank you, Jason.
Welcome.
Welcome Dr. Orloff to the podium to talk about our strategic plan grants. How exciting.
That's very exciting. So hello, everyone. It's great to see you all again. And I'm here to introduce to you the resolution to approve our slate of 2024 Board of Trustees Strategic Plan grants. Very exciting process that we have all been through these last few months. Beginning last fall with the work we all did together to discuss the strategic plan grants and to create the rubric based on the criteria that you set forth to the college community. That was then followed up on a call to the community for applications, which was resoundingly answered. Very exciting to see so much interest and excitement in 51 initial applicants, and then of those 29 were asked to submit a full proposal. And I'm here today presenting our recommendations from the 2+2 committee. The resolution is in your packet. We do have a number of folks who are receiving these grants based on your approval today who have joined us. And so I'm going to read out the name of the proposal and the applicant or main author and ask them if they're in the room, please stand. If you're online, if you could give a wave or something for us, that would be awesome. Just so we can see you and recognize you. As you all know, you'll be seeing these folks again over the course of implementation as they come to report back to you on how their projects are going. So without further ado, the first project is using iWorks human physiology kits to improve student outcomes. Jeremy Ternini, who I believe is online for us. Give a wave there, Jeremy. The next one is the virtual production stage planning grant, Paul Engen. Our next project is the FLCC Zero Cost Degree Program Project, Sarah Moon. I'm fairly sure I said stand. Don't worry, there'll be others joining you shortly. Enhanced support for student well-being, Jeanette Arup and Teresa Daddis, who are here, thank you. The anatomage tables, I did not say that right. I'm going to keep practicing it, but Melissa Moon, I believe also joining us online. Give a wave, thank you, Melissa. Advisory Board Enrichment, Linda Cunningham. Linda. And FLCC Alumni Engagement, Michelle Robbins and Laura Alicia. Very close on your last name. We're going to practice that one too. The GIS Lab from Patty Rockwell. And last but not least, the planning grant for the FLCC CAPS program, Jackie Ternini. These are your candidates for the 2024 strategic plan.
Deborah, there were 1, 2, 3 of us that are here that were on the board when Dr. Risser first brought this up.
Back
A lot of money for a small college like us. And there was discussion, we said, okay, we'll try it, you know, no harm lost. It's more than exceeded our expectations. I mean, it's just incredible, the interesting plans people come up with. It's only sad thing is that we don't have like $20 million to try most of these.
Yes.
But I know everybody worked very hard on this, and you know, the fact that we had so many applicants, and I can't even imagine how difficult it was to get it down to get to this group.
The 2+2 committee did work very diligently on it.
Thank the committee and everybody that served.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll just add that, I acknowledge that it's an expense, but Dr. and I use the word investment in student success and have consistently talked about that. And, we acknowledge it that way. It is an investment. And
Absolutely.
so, kudos.
Yes. We're excited to see where these projects take us. And as I said, all of you will be back in this room giving presentations next year. And we'll talk more about that as we start implementation next week. So does the board have any other questions I can answer?
We have Donna online. Donna, please.
Donna.
Good evening. I don't have a question. I just wanted to make a comment. As Joan said, when the board first considered this idea, one of the things that we finally told ourselves was that in order to improve and innovate and be dynamic, you have to take risks. With risk, it implies failure. Were we willing to spend the money to risk failure? That, I think, was our major concern. And I think over the years, that concern has gone out the window. This has led, even if a project didn't quite make it to us the way it was originally proposed, or it changed during the course of things, absolutely every project has enhanced the quality of the work we do at FLCC and the success of our students. And I'm for this round. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
And I know the community would also want me to thank the board for your continued support. This does continue to grow and be an exciting part of what we do here at FLCC. And we'll be back to share more with you soon.
Thank you, Dr. Orwell. Appreciate it. Again. It brings us to adjournment. So I need a motion and a second, please. Thank you. Trustee Hassel, second by Trustee Russell. And Chair Price, we'll turn it over to you at 6:05.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, would like to call to order the May 1st Board of Trustees meeting of Finger Lakes Community College. The first order of our agenda will be to public comment, either here in the room or online. Is there anybody that wishes to speak? Could you just come up here, please, and could you state your name for us?
Absolutely. My name is Charles Torado. I am an FLCC alumni. Graduate 2014, Business Administration, 2015, Hospitality, former student senator, former student Senate Vice Chair. It was actually our student corporation, the 2014 to 2015 year that founded Flick, the mascot, and former FLCC Woodsman competitor. So the reason why I'm here today, as well as many other alumni and current students, is we recently found out that there is a plan to bulldoze the Marty Dodge Woodsman Field. So we have some questions and concerns on that. We would like to know specifically when that is taking place and if there is any, essentially, are you going to relocate the field, relocate the, the sign, or what's going on with that?
I'd be happy to start if you like.
Yep.
First off, we're in the middle, I think there's some confusion because the draft master facility plan made some statements that made it seem like the barn was going away and the practice field was going away. That wasn't necessarily the case and it wasn't quite accurate. We are doing an architectural study right now, and in that architectural study to help develop the new horticulture educational complex, it will go somewhere in that area over there. There are two possibilities. One, to retain the barn and the field where it's at and to renovate it, or two, move both the practice field and create a new facility somewhere near where the competition field is, but it will not go away. There'll be something that will be replaced that will be better than what you have now. And I have personally contacted Marty Dodge when this came up and sent him an email earlier today. And those are the two options we have right now. We don't have an idea when it's going to occur because we're still in the process of doing the fundraising and we're still in the process of putting together an architectural plan. The architectural plan will be done sometime in the next few months. And that just gives us an idea of where we'll be going. We still need to raise more funds to get where we need to go. And we have a goal that 40 years from now that we will be able to have everything resolved in terms of the new horticultural complex and where the barn and the playing field for Mighty Dodge practice field will be.
Okay, perfect. And as far as the new facilities and all of that go, do you guys require donations? Is there any way alumni can help out in raising funds for that, or?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And ready and willing to hear you out. Bree, take it away.
Sure, so
Yes, is the short answer. Right now, we're, actively fundraising for logging sports. There's a fund available during the Labor Day giving, which is the first and second. So there's certainly an opportunity to make an impact right there. And then we can talk offline about, creating a new fund. We have funds available right now for the horticulture complex for that particular project. And then we'll start talking about having a greater composition of funds for the master facilities plan.
Okay, perfect. So I could meet later with you then? All right, perfect. And as far as, I know you guys are talking about it and doing the studies and everything, apologies, I'm looking for the right word. Essentially for new facilities, if you were to move or renovate, could I suggest, making sure that there's running water, bathroom facilities, because, if you're relocated down there at the competition field, it's quite a far way away from any kind of bathrooms, any kind of, service for the students, for the competitors. Is that something you guys would be able to do, or?
Yeah, could I make a comment about that? Yeah, actually, Coach Ryan Stashak, wrote up a plan about a new facilities if there is to be built a one back in 2018. He listed out the size of a pole barn that he would want, a classroom, storage for equipment, and he did mention the bathrooms in there, running water and everything. The idea is we were modeling it after the forestry cabin at Paul Smith's. Obviously, we don't have as much money as them. It can't be as fancy, but we can
Can't be
still,
as fancy as my other.
right. But we can make something better than what we have now, and maybe even an indoor practice area, so we don't have to fare the weather in the winter all the time or the sleet and rain.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. That, goes over my concerns. I don't know if anyone else had any other questions.
On the May 2nd, I've never seen a thing specifically for the Woodsman's team. I did years and years ago, then it kind of went away, and I just see it for like the conservation department. So is there a specific line item for the Woodsman's on May 2nd?
Yes, we refer to it as the logging sports.
Okay.
Team. So there's a team fund, there's a scholarship fund.
Okay.
I believe just a general logging sport.
Okay. Okay.
I just would like to make one other comment. This is a plan, it's not something that's in stone. And so I am assuming there'll be many revisions as we go along. And one of them will probably be based on mine. So I'm glad that you're come forward and are willing to contribute.
All right. Thank you so much, guys.
I also like to add that, I brought up, last meeting, my concerns about where that was going to go. But even though I'm leaving, the board, I feel very confident in all of you, and Dr. Nye always has our back, that, nothing's gonna happen to the field, and that, they're gonna make sure that we're written into the plan and that a project will come about and that it will come across Coach Ryan Stashak, the team, and the alumni and whoever else is coaching at that time.
Yeah, Trustee Schumacher has been a tremendous advocate, so.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Really firsthand unfiltered insight, so,
Yeah.
thank you for that.
One of the things we learned today, appreciate y'all coming, is communication. And so in a couple of my emails to folks today, I mentioned that either through Ryan State Chalk or through our alumni association, that we'll keep folks up to date on the progress of how things are going. Good, thank you. Awesome, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any
Taking
other
notes.
public comments? Seeing none in the room, are there any public comments that are online? Okay, seeing none, then we will move on to
Oh, wait a minute, there's a
resolutions. We will
JT
take
here.
these as a group.
Hold on, there's somebody on the phone and that's
Oh,
how
I'm
they're
sorry.
supposed to be
I
doing
can't
it.
hear
So
you.
I will request a mute and see if they do.
Oh, there's somebody on the phone. Okay.
Yeah, because that's how they, I had requested unmute, so it could be John Taylor. Says JT. All right. Okay, so they didn't unmute.
Hello?
They didn't unpack, so
They're no longer there?
they're there, but they didn't unpack. So they didn't want.
So it's okay.
It's okay.
Okay, all right, then I would like to, ask for a motion to approve the resolutions.
So move.
Thank you, trustee Martin, second.
Second.
Thank you very much, trustee Cass, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. All right, approve. Resolutions and you have another set for resolutions on the consent agenda?
Consent agenda.
Consent agenda, to the step to consent agenda.
We take those together.
Okay, so, oh, you know what? I skipped the minutes.
Joan, we have to review the resolutions with the board are putting forward.
I can't hear you.
We have to approve the resolutions that the board is putting forward.
So, oh, yes, the ones the board is.
And then you
Yes,
can approve the consent agenda for the minutes.
okay.
Can we remove the minutes, the April 3rd minutes from the consent agenda? Because I wasn't here, so I'd like to abstain from that.
Oh, okay. So, yes, you can abstain.
Okay, just for
Just
the
for
minutes.
the-
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do the minutes, separately. Could I have a motion to do the minutes separately? Rich, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I want to, wait, it was just.
It's separate. Yep.
Okay, now, are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? All right, seeing none, and Nina, or, Santa, you will
Abstain from the
Abstain.
April 3rd.
let the, minutes show that, trustee Abraham is not going to vote, that she's going to abstain because she was not here.
Yep.
Trustee Mahalik,
Is this vote going to include the Board of Trustees Emeritus
no, this is just,
policy? No. Because I do have issues with that. I believe that we do not have the latest, well, I didn't in my packet, the latest version
okay,
of that
so
policy.
you want to hold that until we get there?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
this is just the minutes. Okay, can I have a motion for the minutes? Nina, and Jeff seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, minutes are passed.
Uh-huh.
All right, now we're on to the consent agenda. There is a question on the consent agenda. Donna, what is your question?
So the question for the board is
Which
the version of the FLCC Board of Trustees Emeritus policy that I have in my packet is not the most recent. It did not include a policy review at the end. And there is a discrepancy. It says the word 12 and then in parentheses, it says 14.
All right, so, would you like us to, amend this policy? Or or we can, move it to the next meeting?
Could you highlight where you're speaking?
Yeah,
Oh, I see,
it's
that's the year, it's
like
at the bottom, I
it's
see.
the bottom, it's at the bottom.
Okay.
At the trustee.
Yeah, and you know what? The D term, that's incorrect also.
So there are at least 3 problems with it.
We may need to
We
wait
may
until
need
the
to
next
pull
meeting.
This one and wait. All right,
Just
all right.
table.
Okay, then I will need a motion for someone to table the, Board of Trustees Emeritus Policy. So moved, second.
Second.
Donna, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so this will go back to committee to make the necessary revisions, and then we can revisit it in June. Okay, very good.
Okay.
All right, are there any other questions on any of the other resolutions on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, can I have a motion?
So move.
Thank you, trustee Martin, a second.
Second.
Trustee Zazzles, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. That passes. Okay, old business. Old business. one has any old business. Okay, very good. New business.
Graduation's coming.
Graduation is coming, yes. It is every year about this time. Nina, do you have a? Waiting. Oh, you're just waiting. All right, just wait. All right. Chair's report. I would like to take this minute as chair. I hope I'm not gonna embarrass you. And if I do, okay. Nina's been with us for 2 years. She has done a wonderful job giving us a student perspective. She spends a lot of time on this, I can tell from her reports. I wish many adults in our government would take things as seriously and be willing to cooperate and work with their peers. And so I think you, in the future, are going to have a very great future. This is a plaque we would like you to have. If you don't want to hang it up in your room, I'm sure your mother and father would love it. We thank you so much. Thank you so much. Would you like to say a picture?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. I would like to say, I wish I could have done more, but, I mean, there's just so much that, that I could do for the campus, but, with my academics and everything, I only have so much time, so much to say, but, I have faith in the next student trustee, and I'm excited to, see them. I think at the next meeting, they'll be here with us, just to get familiar. But, I wish the best to them, and, I'm gonna miss all you guys. Not gonna lie.
You too.
We'll see you on stage.
Oh, yeah.
I have to, maybe if my,
Up by sure, on the screen so that we have a.
Yeah.
all right. Our podium should have FLCC on it.
Yeah, it should.
Okay, Laura.
Hey, pictures are important. One,
Yeah, that's important.
beautiful.
Okay,
Thank you, Laura.
Okay, one more item on the chair's report. This is my last meeting as chair. I have it under, good authority that the gentleman next to me will be taking over. I'm just very excited, I know. Raise done, so. I just want to.
Double zero.
I just want to thank everybody. Everybody has been so easy to work with. And the other nice thing is when I have called people to ask them to serve on committees or do something special, no one has ever said no. And I really appreciate that. And I hope I will not say no either. So, yeah.
I learned a new word. I'm gonna volunteer you.
So I just would like to thank you all very much. All right, and with that.
Chairman, guys, we can't let you
Come on,
go like
we're
that.
done.
So, right leader, right time. Thank you for your leadership. And it's something that you've done with ease and you've done with a lot of humility as well. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
And a great sense of humor.
And it's important. It's a very important. And now the president's report.
How can I top that? I'm just going to say my report is submitted for review, because I can't top that other than say it's been a sheer joy to work with you as the board chair, and glad you're not going anywhere as well.
No, no. We have to die in our positions. Appointed by the state.
Tough standards.
They're still in. Committee reports. Do you have anything you want to add to report?
I don't have a formal report, but, some things I want to touch on. Yes, this past weekend, our women's team took first place in the Northeast. The last time that happened was, 2002, and that was actually when I was born. It's been a Our open division, well, also the women's division, we took it by 210 points, which in logging sports is a lot. We swept it. Our open division took second place. They did extremely well, and they were a team that was pieced together with other colleges. Gray from ESF stepped in because we lost a member of our team. But yeah, I wanted to add that I had a 2-year stigma coming to FLCC. I thought 2-year schools were not worth my time, but here I've met the best professors. I've had a great academic journey, and the logging sports team boosted my confidence. Coach Ryan and Coach Brandon have been like the best coaches, as well as at our home meet, we had a whole bunch of alumni come out, and I have never seen a community as loving, supportive, and as fun as the logging sports community. There were people there from when the year it began to as recent as last year, and everyone in the community was talking to each other as if, you know, if they'd never met before, it was like that they had been longtime friends because we all had the same thing in common. And they braved the weather. It was so cold, so rainy. I don't know if any of you guys came out. Dr. and I did for a while, but you came out when the sun was there.
Stadium and a turf field with the other stadium.
Oh, yeah.
I was there, but I was exceptionally well dressed.
Our alumni braved it, and it was incredibly fun. And thank you for coming and presenting Ryan and Marty Dodge with awards. I would also like to add that our team attends the amphibian migration. It's something that John Bateman hosts every year at Mueller Field Station. We have, oh my God, I want to say millions of salamanders and other amphibians crossing the road down to Mueller Field Station to breed. And he takes out students every single year to help move those salamanders and keep the traffic from, you know, killing those numbers. And I've gone every single year. It is so amazing. That's where I found my passion for conservation. And again, I just want to highlight how FLCC has a lot of hands-on experience that my peers at four-year universities are not getting. And so that's why I find this place very special. And then lastly, I did tell Dr. Nye that I wanted to take a semester off from college and, you know, focus on what I wanted to do. But as of this week and attending Paul Smith's, I just submitted a application to Paul Smith's. It was in the air for a while, but I adore the campus and the community there is amazing. So we'll see what comes of that. But at the moment, that is my plan from here on out.
And I take it that you'll be visiting us here.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I can't stay away.
We want to hear from our students, they can't stay away. Trustee Axels, do you have anything that you'd like to add, or are there any questions for him? An arm?
No, nothing to add that. I can take the liberty, since you alluded to it. Joan had asked me to chair the nominating committee, and Santa pitched in and helped, so did George. And so I think in your packet somewhere is a slate of officers, but Trustee Cass is chairman, Rick Russell's vice chairman, and
Right behind you, Don.
Thank you.
it's a slate that will be presented in June. Obviously, if there are other nominees, it's an open process, so.
Thank you very much. And let's see, board development. Donna, we got your packet right here, but we didn't get it until we just came in, so no one has had an opportunity to read it. Well, I should be read.
So the report that you have, thank you, Penny, for producing it today. I realized that I had a meeting on Wednesday and submitted my report on Thursday, so there was no time to really get it in the packet. So she did scramble today to make it available for you. Thank you. That's the national perspective. And then NYCCT, I realize it's a long report, but I think it's mostly photos, so I hope you take a look at that. There's a lot that has been happening in New York State with community colleges, which I think has not happened in quite a while. And I just wanted you to see my foundation report as the chair of the NYCCT Foundation, but also some of the other activities that happened through the year and the successful board meeting that we had. And again, I can't thank George Cushman enough for his leadership, and that will continue at NYCCT.
Dan, I just want to thank you and George for this after tonight. That the two of you have been a real force in this, and it's greatly appreciated. Thank you. Okay. Trustee Cass, any other additions to the association?
No, just a written report.
Just written report. Any questions that you have on the written report? All right. Foundation. The golf tournament is coming up. Most of you should have received your flyer, your invitation in the mail, so I encourage you to consider doing something with that. And Bree, do we have a final number yet for V&V?
Do.
Oh, I think we might.
Okay. I can tell you, let's see, the net number. So let's see, for income, we had a record year, $61,839 raised.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
$61,639, almost $62,000. We expect that to go upwards to $67,000 when all is collected. The expenses were up this year, $16,000, so we'll net around $51,000 this year. And just for a point of reference, last year, income was $50,415, expenses were $12,000, and the net was $37,700.
So that's right. All right. Thank you very much to you and your committee. It's a huge thing to pull together if you've ever been there. Thank you very much. And keep the golf tournament in mind, please. Donna, you already did NYCCT, and George is not here for student court. Are there any questions? Yes, Rich.
No questions about that, but it's not a committee, but I just wanted to give a brief update on the College County Collaborative.
Oh, yes, that would be excellent.
That comes around every quarter.
Every quarter, yes.
This time around, it's an informal thing. People get together and spend about an hour. Some representatives from the county, some representatives from the college. This time around, we reviewed the audit. We talked about workforce development. And we also discussed lobbying efforts, at which point I recommended that George show up and do his thing with the county and various committees to let the supervisors know that there is work being done at the college level, at the state level, to increase state funding. So, and at that meeting, which happened 3 weeks ago, Trustee Martin informed us that he was going to step back from that. And I just want to personally thank Steve for all of the work that he's put into that quarterly meeting throughout the years to be able to provide special insight from an education, from a county standpoint, from a finance standpoint. So thank you, Steve. We'll be reverting shortly. Thanks.
Rich, thank you. That was a good idea to bring us up to date on the county. All right, at this point, we are going to move. Oh, I'm sorry, Don, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to make a comment. And this, probably I'm addressing this to Don as the incoming chair, but there are trustees who are doing additional committee and liaison work that is not listed on our overall list of contributions and what each trustee is doing. So I would just like to see an updated list that includes, for example, the College County Committee, the Special Projects Committee, the Master Plan Committee, whatever trustees have asked to do, if we could update that for this past year so we actually have a record of it. And I'm thinking of this specifically for when we are going to be nominating people for awards, that we don't forget those additional items and the work that people have been doing. So just a suggestion. Thank you.
That's the first thing they have to take care of. All right, but I'm glad you already have something to work on then. All right, any other questions, comments? All right, then I am going to ask that we move into executive session to discuss matters regarding collective bargaining pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law, New York Public Officers Law, Article 7, number 105E. So what I will ask, please, if someone would move to move us into executive session. We are going to have two, and once we are done, we will come back to the regular meeting to adjourn. Donna?
I do not have a link for the executive session.
Okay, we will take a 5-minute break in between, and then and Cheryl will be able to probably have this. Okay?
Thank you very much.
All right.
So we have not moved in.
No, we have not moved in yet. I need a motion to move into executive session. Thank you, Don. Second.
I'll second.
Okay, Jeff seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Seeing no opposed, we will now move into executive session. If people would like about 5 minutes to stretch their legs or whatever, get something to eat, please do so.